Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Onyema. I'm the product manager, enterprise services in Signal Alliance. I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar. Um, please, apologies for starting late. I want to introduce Bami. Uh, well, Bami, you can start the introduction, please.
Hello, good and welcome to this section. We are glad to have you here. My name is Bamdele Ogundipe, and I'm the practice lead for business and customs application for Signal Alliance. Signal Alliance is a leading gold certified Microsoft partner for Microsoft Dynamics solution. We provide excellent enterprise solution, world-class consulting services, and unparalleled support to improve efficiency and reduce operating costs of enterprises in Nigeria and beyond. We've been in business for over 24 years now, with highly skilled and certified consultants, and turn any business challenges into business application solution. We're welcoming you once again. We're not going to take too much of your time. Kindly sit down and relax and enjoy our presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ahmed Udon Bolaji from Kodwe, Nigeria. I'll be taking the presentation side while my colleague, Ms. Awoyemi Hafiz, will be in charge of the demonstration. And it promised to be a wonderful session. It promised to be a very interesting session too. And this webinar is going to be recorded. And just for any other in case you want to have access to it on the long run. And the reason why we have this webinar is just to expose you and also let you understand the transformation that is needed in our public sectors when it comes to digital transformation. That means living a paperless mode of our day-to-day activities to the interesting and the dynamic 365 office. So transforming public sector processes with Dynamics 365. Introduction. Using an intelligent automation solution can deliver a 3-year return on investments of 199%. The public sector needs to identify the opportunities for automation as well as the technology to deliver it. You agree with me that over the last 20 years, things are changing, things are evolving. We are leaving the papered system down to the paperless system. And even everybody in this group or in this hall now can agree with me that we even hardly go to our banks, or because virtually everything we go to the banks to run are already being done or can be done easily on our phone. Same thing applies to sending mails or sending information across to different platforms. All these things are easily being run on the system. And that's the same transformation that is being done in the private sector, in the NGOs, can also and should be replicated in the in our own public system too. So what are the challenges with manual processes? Inconsistency in data entry, room for errors, misleading information, large ongoing staff training costs. System is dependent on good individuals, and there is even lack of security, and there is lack of security, and there is duplication of data entry. So Signal Alliance is a Microsoft certified partner They are into cloud productivity partner. They are the cloud productivity partner of the year 2016. They are also the Microsoft, that's Microsoft country, Nigeria, cloud excellence partner of the year 2016. Cisco winner, Seco, EME 2016. Microsoft Gold partner, Cisco Gold partner, CA Gold partner. While Codeware is a leading Microsoft partner in Nigeria and West Africa, over 20 years combined experience, 100% success rate on project implementations, over 20 Microsoft certified professionals, over 35 certified customers in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and dedicated team of support. So we have best hands in this presentation and in this webinar. So my name once again is Hamid Ridwan Bolaji from Codeware Nigeria Limited. So let us go into the functionalities, or let us see the overview of what we have in the Dynamics 365 Finance capabilities. This webinar is going to be divided into three parts. We have the supply chain, we have the finance, and we also have the human resource, which is popularly known as the personnel management. So when it comes to the finance capabilities, we are going to talk about the chart of accounts. We talk about the accounts payable and receivables. We talk about journals. We talk about budgeting, asset management, inquiries and reporting, tax, then project management, among others. So enhance your financial decision making. Reliably predict customer payments. Or I won't say customer payments in this sense. I would like to reiterate on, most of our public sectors don't have customers, but our due payments are reliably predicted when there is accountability, when you can easily set your gauge and easily set your limits on the system. You know when you are supposed to pay, you know when you are also expecting payments from people. So there are due and aging invoices. All this can also be set on the system. Practically reduce write-offs and improve your margin by understanding when customers will pay their invoices. Then budgeting. You agree with me that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Budget planning is decisive in any organization to plan the future income and expenditures in different elements of business operations. My colleague will be taking us through how to set up budget on the system. We can use a top-down approach, bottom-up approach, etc. So we also can also adapt quickly with intelligent budget proposals. This reduces the time and effort spent on budgeting. And you will agree with me that budget is very, very important to any organization. And when it is not done at the right time, it delays a lot of things. Even in our government sectors, you hear, okay, budget is being delayed for a number of months when we should have even started running the expenditures and our incomes. So that such is going to be eliminated when it comes to Dynamics 365. Then close books faster and simplify financial management. What do we mean by this? It can activate flexible and in-depth financial reporting capabilities, be it our trial balance, our income statements, our balance sheets. They can easily be run on the system just by a click of button. And you can even handle our foreign exchange. Then, and also it supports multiple legal entities. What do we mean by support multiple? Mr. Risk Spike. That can be integrated down to NECA or even the FCC and ICPC. All this can be easily run on the system. Then going to unify and automate your business processes. What do you mean by this? There is a streamlined, there is a uniform system being used. It creates rules-based collection strategy that will help increase on-time payments, improve cash flow, and save time. Then provide a single source for data integration. Many of us, or let me say most of us, have this very good and in-depth knowledge of maybe, let me say, Excel or Microsoft Word and the likes. There is easy integration between what you know and what you are going to know. There is easy integration between what you can do before and what you can do later. So, for example, now if you are very good with, let me say, Excel, for example, it can easily, there is an easy integration between your Excel and your Microsoft Dynamics 365, in which even as there is a real-time editing. As you're editing on the Excel, it's also having effects on your Dynamics 365. So that's one of the centralized source of intelligence and effective that enables effective cross-functional collaboration. So you also agree with me that Power BI is if I say Excel is a secondary school graduate, Power BI is like a PhD holder. You get to see a better analysis of whatever you are doing. You even see the performance, you can even predict with the Power BI. So all these ones have already been integrated into the Microsoft Dynamics 365. So you also have a strategic impact and reduce cost. When it comes to cost, eventually manage your organization growth. There is what we call intercompany, while intercompany is just like a collaboration between different parastatals, be it your receivables, your payables, your inventory management, and also even your human resources. You can easily transfer workers from one parastatal to the other. Then intercompany just rapidly deploy new subsidiaries or product lines in record time, copy an existing labor entity setup to a new entity with onboarding that is quick, cost-effective, and consistent with best practices. So it can also, this system also makes it easy to thrive in subscription-based economy. Take advantage of automated recruitment, billing, easily adapt recognition standards, reduce audit costs, and accurately calculate and report your financial statement. And from our experience, the sector, actually the department that really enjoy this system most are the accountants, because most of what they run through that seems quite equivalent. There are things that can easily be reported and can easily be modified on the system. And once our accountants are accountable with what we've given to them, it makes the organization to also move forward. There is trust, there is reliability in whatever we are doing. So when it comes to maybe we are paying rent or we are paying subscription for internet, we are paying for maybe security. So all this can be done currently. You can just set up a recurring journal, a recurring payment, a recurring billing system. And this will easily adapt to new revenue recognition standards. Increase workforce productivity. What do we mean by workforce productivity? When works are seamlessly done, when the works are easily done, the human capital will have a stronger and a better hands with whatever they are doing. There is going to, when works are easily done, there is increased workforce productivity. It automates menial tasks and prioritizes impactful physical work. I've worked briefly in the public sector, and I understand that most time we are either carrying files or folders from one office to the other, taking from one head of department to another head of department, signing, all this, there is fatigue involved. There is less production time, productivity time rather. So all these are going to be eliminated, so and it's rather be improved and increased upon. So easily adapt to changing regulatory requirements. For example, now the government can come up today and say, okay, in this particular parastatals, the tax to be paid is going to be maybe 7.5, just like what happened sometimes last year. So when such regulatory requirements come up, we can easily run this through on the system. And my colleague, like I said earlier on, that's Mr. Oyemi, is still going to take us deeper into the drive. You see all this English I'm saying, you are going to see it in the practical form and have a better understanding of all this. So there is electronic invoice processing. You don't need to be taking invoices from one place to the other. All this can be easily managed on the system. Then comply with local tax regulations. Even let's take the federal government of Nigeria, for example, or let me take Lagos State, for example. The tax being captured in Lagos State is different from what we have in Lagos State. All this can also easily be managed on the federal level and be it on state or federal, anyhow you like it. Then the second part of this is going to be the supply chain capabilities. And what do we mean by our supply chain? This basically involves our procurement. It's involved buying, and if at all we even have a selling or we have a commodity that we are selling out. So we can easily manage our supply chain with this. That will talk about your product information, your procurement and sourcing. We have our master planning, the warehouse management, the transport management, and vendor collaboration, among others. So enhance your supply chain decision making. There is unified operation. Obtain a unified view of inventory, warehouse, manufacturing, service, and logistics within an supply chain. You can easily have some predictive analytics, turn data into insights, and help man business make strategic and decisions. And we also have the assets management. One of the important part of every business, or let me say of every organization, is asset. We have our fixed assets, we have our current assets. So most of our fixed assets can easily be managed, be it the maintenance, your depreciation, calculating disposals, and the likes. Then work order management for maximum flexibility. You can easily work on any order that is given on the system, can always be managed. Like on real life, can always be managed on the system. So going forward, the inventory management, that's talking about our store. We can easily tell what do we have in the store, what's our inventory level, when should we reorder, when should we restock. All this can easily be managed on the system. Then to the very important part, which is the third aspect, which is going to be the Dynamics 365 human resource, which we all know as personnel management. So the personnel management, it's the human resource, the human capitals that we use in the system. So this can be managed from the method, the mode of recruitment, to the onboarding. So let me even say, probably we are talking about writing exams, or let me say conducting interviews. All this can be managed on the system. So after we've even conducted the interviews, we have already recruited such employee. We can manage the payroll system, we can manage the leave, we can manage the benefits and compensation, the exit management, that's for retiring staffs. We can manage performance and appraisals. We can also manage promotions and the likes. So enhance human resource decision making, maintain proper organization hierarchy. That means we can, there's what called workflow, which deals with, okay, let's say there is a human resource officer, we have human resource manager, we have a managing director in the human resource department. All these hierarchies can be set up on the system, which is also make it easy for us to have a seamless and a very productive workflow. That's okay, but for somebody is not even on ground, who is going to be the next person that could carry on with his or her task? All this can be effectively managed on the system. Then the personnel management in broader view, we are centralizing your people's data, provide a more holistic understanding of your employees. With this system, you can easily even check what or which of the employee is due for promotion, which of these employee have been given task, and how effective or how productive has he been with his task that he has been given. What are the challenges he faced? All this can easily be managed on the system. And there is what we even call the user security, which means all our data are going to be protected, and there is going to be a password for each login. In other words, that anybody can just open the system and start working on it. And there's even what for role centers, which means what somebody in the inventory department, or let me say the store department, should see is and must be different from what somebody in the personnel in HR is going to say. It's going to be different from what the accountant is going to say. Everybody have their role centers, and all the activities have been tailored to such role centers. So transform employee experiences. If I say we should talk about how we even manage our employees, then we're going to see one big file talking about the result of such employee, talking about their promotional history, talking about their skills, or let me say trainings. And sometimes you can even hear a file is lost, this one is done, that we can't even find this, we can't see that. How long have they gone for leave? Or what has been the leave history? So all this can easily be managed on the system. And that's what we also call the supervisor engagement. My colleague, like I said earlier, is still going to take us deeper in all this drive briefly. So we also have meet local and global business needs, improve governance, reduce risk, and help ensure compliance across 43 countries, regions, and 40 languages out of the box. That means, as we can see it in French, we should be able to see our system in Arabic. We can also see our system in Spanish, but Nigeria being a British, being under the British colonial office, we know that we use English. But we could have a parastatal that is an international organization that also might be in need of this system. That means there is easy integration with languages and also across board of different countries. So employee self-service, the employee themselves, they can manage their history, they can manage their profile, they can manage their trainings, and even there is an integration with LinkedIn, for example. So even if there's a promotion and as it is effectively done on the system, it can also be activated on LinkedIn. So there is Microsoft Teams integration. We are currently using Teams, and Teams being a Microsoft product, all this can also be integrated into the system. And this provides a seamless experience through the Microsoft Teams integration, which helps employee easily view time off balances and submit leave requests. So optimize your HR programs and compensation programs. That's for create can be based on the defined guidelines and easily adjust programs individually or in mass to automate company-wide rollouts. Then the benefits, the defined benefit admission with flexible, configurable, self-service enrollment tools that allow for benefit groups, hierarchies, flexible credits, and auto enrollment. Then integration with our existing systems, like I said earlier on, we can easily integrate with our payroll. You can just fine-tune the payroll system to what you have, your budgeting system, your tax filings, and the likes. So transparent recruitment process. Most and oftentimes you always have this challenge of, okay, the recruitment that was done by one government parastatal wasn't transparent, and the people that were employed are not capable of the job on ground. So with this system, there is going to be an open and transparent system, which is going to be viewed by people that ought to view it, like our HR departments now. So let's take INEC, for example, is recruiting. All departmental members of INEC HR team will be in charge of this, and there is going to be a transparent and open system in which nobody can just come and maybe hire out the person that is not even due for such work. So this can be easily managed on the system. So in conclusion, before my colleague starts his own presentation, Dynamics 365 is designed to balance operational excellence, organization agility, and employee experience, creating a workplace where people and business thrive. So enough of my talks. I think my colleague can come up now and start his presentation. Thank you very much. And in case you have questions, which can also be handled at the end of this section. Armin Hamidu Bolaji, over to you, Awuyemi Afis.
Good morning, ladies
All
and
right,
gentlemen.
everyone, before Apis, hello, sorry.
All right,
Everyone, before, hello, everyone, thank you for the section.
Yes.
Before Afis continue, I would like to add one or two things in what has been said so far.
All right, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I want to turn on my camera, please. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening so far. I would like to share some facts on. I'd like to share some facts and statistics. Apologies. I'd like to share some facts. We've been talking about transforming public sector's processes. What do we mean by this? We basically mean by transforming, making it digitize public sector processes. That's what we basically mean by this. And statistics have actually shown that when digital transformation has actually improved about 58% of operational tasks as compared to the overall 30% of other tasks performed in public sectors generally. And also, statistics also show that 45% of businesses fund out new revenue generation stream when they digitize their processes as well. And also, 51% of businesses witness an increase in their overall revenue generation graph without involving digital transformation. The rate has actually been confirmed to only about 32% only. Thank you. Afiz, you can go ahead now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Awuyemi Afis from the Code Red team. So I'll be the one to take to the demonstration part of the system. So I'll be sharing my screen now, and hope you guys have a lovely day and presentation ahead. So onboarding to the system. So this is the landing page we have here. So here we have the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation landing page. You can see I'm using a direct link, which is actually secured. So I don't have to worry about security issues because it's being protected by Microsoft. Only people who have access and who are on your Microsoft Azure tenant can have access to this particular workspace. So anybody that is not on your Azure Active Directory tenant or part of your employee can't have access to this. You can see this is my work details here, my username and my role, which is the admin here. So alongside on the landing page, you have few menu items which are like workspace, so that helps passing the work process of the particular employee and the role base assigned to each and particular employees. So because I'm the general admin, that's why I can see everything going down here, and I can see down here the work items assigned to me. We have cash advance requests, we have catalog approval and likes among others, and we can have the calendar to track our activities and all. So starting with the Dynamics 365 finance aspect. So here I'll be talking about the general ledger, where I'll be discussing about the chart of accounts, the main accounts, the budgeting, and also starting with the chart of accounts and how they are being set up and how they work and how they help simplify business processes. So under the general ledger, we have the journal entries, journal processing, we have the inquiries and reporting and all. So for the chart of account, this is where all our accounts are being defined and stated, where we talk about our main account, which are our accounts like working accounts where transactions are being stored, are being in. So they're like a placeholder that holds our transactions. So like we can see here down here, we have list of accounts here. It can include our bank account, tax authority account, cost of goods sold. We can see here, we have interest receivables and all. So this has other settings which can be setting, which are like the related account. We can also set a security base here too, so which is going to specify people that can have access to this account and people that can make modification to this account down here. And let's say, like my colleagues mentioned in the other during this presentation, where he talked about intercompany. So let's say a particular main account can be shared between two legal entity. So all you just need to just come down here and do a legal entity override and add a new legal entity here. So let me just show how it looks like. And so these are the list of other legal entities on this system. So you can have as much as possible legal entity on your system, depending on how many subsidiaries and how you want the system process, how the company runs his or business processes. So enough about the general account, which talks about the main account and the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts is just a body of the overall account, so like the housing, the house main account. So you can have different chart of accounts for different kind of organization or subsidiaries too. So like my colleague mentioned during his presentation, he talked about currencies. So in this system, we can do currency evaluation for legal entity that works in more than one currency. So they're going to have the base currency and the reporting currency. So this system allows proper setup of those currency. We have the currency exchange rates, the exchange rate types, which can be done manually or automatically. So the manual process is where you come and fix in the value of the current rate, which is actually not advisable to do. The best approach to go and the best advice I'll give as a business application consultant is to use the automatic way, which has to do with a subscription base with a exchange rate provider like Owando and the like. So once you subscribe to them, you get your API, you set it in. Very simple. You don't need a technical guy to do this for you. It's a very simple process. Let me just show how that is being carried out. So these are exchange rate types we have. We have the default and all. So these are basic settings in the system where we can actually do by ourselves, or that can be done by the general admin and all. So this is what I was talking about. So all you just need to just create a new one, set up the name, get your API, which is the key and the value here, slot it in and save it. So automatically it refreshes the currency rates for you. So once you are carrying out a transaction, you don't have to worry about the conversion rates or how it's been calculated. System has been designed in a way that all those has been carried out in the backend for you, so you have less things to worry about. So moving on, we have the general journal, we have the try balancing. So for the general ledger, so it's just the overall breakdown of the transaction going on in and out of the system from every department, be it supply chain, HR, because HR will have to do payrolls and all. So yeah, like my colleague was saying, you can open this line in Excel and do a real-time adjustment to it, and you have what we call workflow, like you mentioned the other time. So a workflow is just a segregation of job. Like you can see, you can view history of this particular workflow, but I haven't set a particular workflow for it. I will just show how those workflows have been done. They are very easy tasks to go with. So I hope I'm making the right points. So once this particular general journal has been adjusted, I can see modified badge. So it gives us insights of who has worked on this, what kind of process have been carried out on this particular general ledger, rejected by, modified by, revised dates, and all. So once you click this journal number, it gives you another insight view, a deep dive into what this general ledger contains. So it's trying to come up. So let's say once the general ledger is okay, you can validate and post, approve, and all. So this is what we have in our general ledger here. We can see the voucher number, the company that is carrying it out, the account is being eaten, like I mentioned in the chart of accounts, and the main account type. So you can see our main account is miscellaneous expenses, the business unit, department, cost center, item groups, and everything is going to be showed in this particular side. So you can see which of the side is being entering, the debit side or the credit side. So you can also check different informations too that has to do with your tax and all. So down here you can see the reporting currency. So this is the base currency here, and the reporting currency for company that works in different currencies. So you are going to see your the journal amounts here in the preferred currencies. So enough about that. So I'll be moving to the trial balance. Then afterward, I'll be talking the trial balance, other than the inquiries and reporting. So we have we have a lot of reporting in this system that comes in the system. We have the SSR reporting, we have the Excel reporting, and we have the Power BI. So depending on how prolific or how good the employee can work with those softwares. So I think everybody should be good with Excel. So Excel is a basic form of data analysis, so we can just export it to Excel and do your analysis and carry out every other thing you need to do. So like now, so we are working on this trial balance now. We are trying to get a trial balance for some period, a cycle. So all you need is just to come down here, change your date range. So it has to be in the same fiscal year. So the system allows us to set up our fiscal year, the fiscal year cycle, whether it's quarterly, it's monthly, or anyhow we want to run it. Sorry. So the system is flexible, so it works with every organization business process. So you just need to just set in the right parameters into the system, and it gives you what you desire. So now I'm trying to pull out a trial balance for this particular date. So what all you need to do is just set in the financial dimension. Financial dimension can be your main account, can be the department, can be the project, or anything you are trying to get the trial balance on. So you can just do a trial balance on your budgeting to know how you are doing in the budgeting part. So once you are done with the parameters, key in, so just calculate your balance from here with the click of the button, and it brings out all the transaction related to this particular information you've asked for. You can see here, we have the main account that this particular amount is being eaten, the opening balance, the name, every other thing we need to work on. Like on the header line, this is the action pin. You can see some additional information here. You can check the by currency, by period, cash flow forecast, fiscal year transaction, among other functionalities that system can offer. So after that, we have this workspace that can actually help you drill down into a particular business process you're talking about. Like I was talking about time, you can set in your ledger calendar, fiscal calendar, date interval, and among others. So for the purpose of time and the presentations, I would like to move on to the next one. So this system has actually tackled the accounts payable and accounts receivable in a simplified way. So you don't have to move from one menu item to another menu item. Everything has been packed into this. When we talk about the vendor setup, the vendor details, the vendor group, everything, the purchase order. You can just create a purchase order from this page. You don't have to go back and forth and all. So here we can see the list of our vendors and their status, whether they are on hold, whether they are still active, their vendor group, their basic contacts in the company. You can see now we have our vendor account, vendor name. Is this vendor on hold? Probably it's like a contract vendor where it can be a 6 months vendor, it can be a 1 year contract vendor, so you can actually place them on hold since once their employment is being terminated. So I'm going to show you how we do the onboarding and the leave and exit when I get to the HR part. So here we have the vendor group where they talk about the category this vendor belong, because it has to be grouped based on the discounts, the terms of payments, mode of deliveries. Those are the reason why we actually group our vendor. Then beside it, you can see the currency this vendor is actually working on. So you don't have to worry. You can be working in Naira and the vendor can be working in USD. But once the account is being done, you're going to see both transaction in the reporting currency and base currency. So drilling down to this particular vendor to show you more details, more things you can set up for this vendor to give you better insight of what this vendor actually does. We have the general panel where we talk about the identification number, the organization type, and all. We have the address, contact information, miscellaneous details. Then under the payment, we have the payment type, the mode of payments, the cash discount we have. Like I can see, terms of payment is next 30. This particular vendor has to pay between 30 days. So he has a grace of 30 days before he can pay. So we have the mode of payments, which is check. We have the cash discounts, and we have tax setup for this particular employee. We have retail and financial dimension, among others. Like you can see on the action tab, you can talk about the procurement. This way you can just create a purchase order from this for this particular employee without moving back and forth. Then we have the request for quotation. Probably you are trying to compare quotes between vendors, which happens oftenly. So you can just request for a quote, send out a RFQ to the vendors. So like my colleague mentioned in his presentation, he talked about vendor collaboration. This is where the vendor receives those codes, act on it, give the companies the response. Yes, sir. Hello. Can you help me mute your mic?
Last time we were talking about masters or something.
Hello, sorry. Can you help me mute your mic? You're interfering with the presentation. Sorry. Thank you. So the vendor can actually respond to.
Please unmute yourself. You are muted, Hafiz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Getting back to the presentation now. So we can see the details that has to deal with the employee. Like for the workspace, you can see the vendor payment, like my colleagues mentioned the other time, where you can monitor your payments and how they are being paid, delayed payment, accord payment, and different kind of payments you have in the system. So moving on to the next one, which is account receivable, where we talk about the customer setup, the customer invoicing, the customer payments, and we have the bill of exchange. And note every module here, these are what we call modules. They have their own inbuilt inquiries and reports where you can just get a drill down transaction of what is going down in that particular dimension or departments. You can just request for your report. You can actually print it out into Excel format, set up a printer where you can create a batch job. Every end of the month, this particular report is going to be sent to a particular email, or it's going to be sent to a particular printer and print out for deep dive analysis or probably board meeting analysis and all. So yeah, I really don't want to do it down into because it's still like the same setup with the vendor where you can set up your customer, put your customer on hold. Like vendor is to purchase order, customer are to sales order, like that. So you can check your customer invoicing here where you can see customer due invoicing. You can see shipment but not invoiced, sales order on hold, 4 unposted field tax invoice, unposted record. You can see those details here, and you can have some fast link that can just take you down to this menu item back and forth. So moving forward, talking about the assets management, we also have the assets leasing for companies that actually deal with leasing of assets like machineries, tools, and the like. So they can actually manage their inventory, how they can track how the process is being done too. So under these assets, we know we have different kind of assets. We have the tangible assets, intangible assets. Depending on the assets we want, this system has been designed in a way that it can tackle those assets. And one of the most important aspect of assets management is maintenance of your assets, knowing the life cycle, knowing the depreciation value, the calculation. You can see now we have the maintenance request, life cycle model, life cycle states, asset type. Then we can view the all assets we have, the active ones, the assets yet to be incurred and all. So you can see the life cycle is active. You can see the asset type. You can see the name, the assets, the parents, and if it is a child asset, it will be listed under this, and so on. So moving forward, talking about we have audit workbench. This is where all our auditing takes place. So you can actually check states down there and just check where all those transactions, how they're being carried out at all. So this time is coming out, so you can see. So it's telling us these case IDs for this particular company. When you drill down, it gives you more details about this particular audit. So you can check anything, information you need to check, depending on the role that you're being assigned to. So moving forward, talking about budgeting. So budgeting has to do, it's like my colleague said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you have to plan your budget ahead of your fiscal calendar or fiscal cycle or fiscal period, depending on how you want your budget to be calculated. So like now we have the budget registry entering, we have the budget planning, we have the forecasting, inquiries and reporting. Like I said, like all modules as reporting and inquiries. So drilling down to the budget planning. So this budget has been actually be planned for this, checking the budget header. We can see additional information about this particular budget. So the budget name, the budget planner preparer, the state the budget is just being submitted, not like it has been approved. So it has to be sent down through a workflow to be approved and all. So now coming down to the budget details down here, we have the account. This particular budget is 18. We have the description. We have the business units. So we can have 2 or more business units with the same budget description. The difference is they're actually being used in different business units or different departments. So you can see the baseline, we can see the first quarter request, second quarter request, and the total department request. You know, at times the budget might change. What might be the baseline might not actually be the total department request based on change in like example, change in currency exchange and all. So those can affect our budget planning. So this system has actually tackled those kind of deadlocks by giving you the permission to do this. So once the budget requester is done, so the overall admin in charge of the budgeting or someone that has the role to do this will actually see this and act upon it. So let's say it was meant to accept, you can just check down his workflow down here. Then you can check the workflow history, so you can auto approve. So this workflow has been auto approved by this particular user, which is the super admin. So that about budgeting. So we can actually check for our forecasting and every other information that we can see here. We have the budgeting, basic budgeting, which is the actual versus budget, the actual budget by period. You can drill down, you can check your financial reporting, budget planning, the setup, budget control, and the likes, depending on how the kind of approach you use for your budgeting, whether top down or bottom, whether top up or bottom down, depending on the approach you use for the budget setup. So moving forward, we talked about cash and bank management. I'll have to talk about it briefly. This is where you set up your bank. So bank should be using for transactions. You have to set it up when you need to do your banking reconciliation. So it can be done both manually and automatically, depending how easier you want the process to be for your employee. So all you just need to get your bank account statement from your bank in any preferable format. It can be in Excel, it can be in CSV, it can be in XML, depending on the format you requested from your bank. So once you bring it in the system will have to reconcile it together with the account, the bank you actually, let's say you are using the Bank of USA now. So all your transaction that has been hitting the main account of the Bank of USA will be in one side. Then all the account, the one that is in the bank statement will be on another side. And the system will do the automatic reconciliation. But at times you have to do some manual checking where you have to, like the SMS charges is going to reflect on the bank statement, but you're not going to reflect on your system bank statement. So all those ones can be done manually. So this system allows those manual entry for those ones. Then you can set some security procedure where only few people can have access to it and can make some adjustment to it. So that's that about that. So talking about the banking management, so this is going to give you the overall view of how many banks you have, the transaction that's been carried on, and it's going to give you an analytic view of all your banks. So you can see all bank accounts, open bank consolidation. So we have our Bank of Euro, Bank of USD. You can see the current balance, bridge transaction, and all. So down here beside it, you can see beside my work, you can see the analytics. This is where the Power BI integration comes in. So once the Power BI integration has been done, so all the Power BI integration that has been done for your bank management is going to reside in this blank space. The reason why it's not showing up is because I haven't configured my Power BI desktop yet. So that's another add-on advantage. So I think I'll be moving on to the supply chain because of time. So here I'll be talking about the procurement and sourcing, the inventory management, the product information management. So talking about the procurement and sourcing, so this is where we have the purchase order preparation, we have the purchase order requisition, request for quotation, vendor catalog. So you can. Yes, ma'am. I'm with you.
Can you please pause for a minute? Zara has a hand raised.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't checking my Teams. Sorry.
Okay, just pause for a minute and answer.
All right, thank you.
Zara, you have the floor, please. Hello, Zara. Okay, please go ahead. I think we need to change the mic.
All right, do call my attention to it in case I have someone raising up the hand because I'm not seeing that's my own end. Thank you. So for the procurement and sourcing, this way you have the purchase order processing going on. So like here we have the purchase order entry, purchase order follow-up, intercompany purchase order, receiving product. So I'll still talk about how the process works and when I get to the inventory management. We'll talk about the inbound operation and the outbound operation, how goods are being received and how goods are being taken out of the inventory and how they are being eaten, different accounts and adjustments are being made to them. So under this menu, we can see our purchase agreements, we can see pricing and discount, vendor rebate, consignment, inquiries and reporting, vendor collaboration setup and the likes. So moving forward, talking about the product information. So this can be either way, where you can actually create a product manually. You can actually create a product master. We have the product variants. We have products by category. So product by variant actually helps in industries where they actually incur some goods that are like the same name, but they have some slight variation. Like when we talk about the Toyota Nigeria Limited now, they buy Toyota Camry in, but they might have different configuration. I'm talking about the color, talking about the mode. It can be sports, it can be economically, it can be XL and the likes. So this is where the product variant setup come in handy. So you have the product master, so which is going to be the Toyota Camry. Then you have the product variant, which is going to be by color, by size, by customization, and the likes. So this system has actually been done the way that it can handle all product specifications. So here we have the bill of material and formula for industry that actually deals into raw materials and ingredients. I would like to use the word ingredients in place of the formula. So they can input their ingredients, like probably an orange producing industry to have some ingredients, they have some raw materials they use in the overall production of a fruit juice. So this way you input those bill of material in place of a product. Hello. Is my attention being needed? Okay. Sorry, can you please put your mic? Thank you. So yeah, we have the system actually handles those three modes of manufacturing. When we talk about the lean, the Kanban, the other type of manufacturing. So this actually I'm still going to go there when I'm talking about the master planning, where you plan ahead the bill of material, the kind of products you'll be needing in creation of a particular goods. So that's where we talk about the master planning. So you plan ahead and stuff like that. Like you are planning for a budget, but in this regard is planning for a manufacturing. So yeah, we have the costing, we have the inquiries and reporting like we have for every other workspace here and menu items. So we can see release product maintenance, we can see every other information down here. We can see attributes, setup attributes groups. We can actually talked about hazardous goods, how they can be stored, because not all goods can be stored in the same environment. So this system has been classified where you can classify the group, material class, labeling, and every other thing that has to do with the hazardous materials shipping document. So you can set in your documents here, product compliances based on the country you work on. Some countries actually allow some importation of some goods, while some doesn't allow. So this can be actually be done, set up to the system to work with these compliances through the product compliance menu item. So enough being said about that. So we move on to the talking about, so we still have a lot of menu items that I won't be able to talk about based on time and taking it on all. So we have the revenue recognition, like my colleague mentioned the other time. We have the questionnaire, we have the project management and accounting, production control, sales and marketing, service management, for people that actually deal into maintenance and repair. So the service management comes in handy. Then we have the system administration, which will be my last talk of this presentation after the HR. So talk about tax. So under this tax now, so tax has been made in a way where it's actually work seamlessly. So you can bring in your tax code, your tax group, set up your tax authority, so they don't have to come every end of the month to come to your office and ask for their payments. All you just need to get their accounts and their details, set it up as part of your main account. So once a recurring payment has been done, so every particular date you put, probably this might be 28th of the month or end of the year, so the system automatically pays them. So we have the settlements, we have the withholding tax code, we have the posted tax, sales tax setup and the payment. We have the documentation where you can actually input tax regulatory and all. So you can actually work with foreign trading, electronic messages and the likes here. So talking about the sales tax authorities here, let me just do a deep dive and just show you how it works. So now we have a sales authority for, this is just a short form, but the name is California Tax Authority. This is the vendor account. So when we drill down here, it's going to take us back to the main account. So you can see here. So this particular tax authority has been set into the system as a vendor. So we have the rounding off. So rounding off can be set up. Some use a difference of 0.01, which means like when the account, when the payment is down or above 0.01, it can still be waived by the system, and those kind of so those kind of differences can be posted in an account called penny differences. So you can set up any many of accounts depending on how the business actually functions. So the system can actually go about with any business process. So that's it about these tax authorities and the setup. So talking about the tax code, we can actually set up tax code by localization depending on our employee. I'm going to show that when I get to the HR, where you can actually set up tax by region and the calculation and the likes. So these are our tax code you can have for California state retail production, the settlement period, the ledger posting group, the sales tax currency, the calculations down here. So this is actually calculation here. You can check it from the sales tax, check the value. So automatically those values have been keyed in, like we mentioned earlier. If it is VAT we are working with, set it up as VAT code, probably for Nigeria or California, then set up in the value here to be 7.5, and the system do the calculation underneath, so you don't have to worry about how those calculations are being carried out. So we have the sales tax inquiries, sales tax reports, where you can actually check your sales tax by code, by tax transaction, by customer, by vendor, and the likes. So moving forward now, so I'll be moving on to the transport management. So this is actually where we talk about the planning of loads and waves and all. So loads are how I say it's goods that are meant to leave a particular warehouse or a particular inbound place. So this menu workspace actually helps you to plan ahead the type of containerization being used, the weights, how those goods can be grouped in a shipment format, with the address, with the tracking. So it has a real-time tracking where you can track the vehicle. Like let's say like NNPC now. So once this thing the fuel is leaving the depot and you don't know where the truck is actually is. So this system can tackle those kind of issues where you can track your truck, the movement of the truck through the GPS. So this is an add-on integration for the system. So you can track your truck, the movement, how many kilometers that's covered, how long is it going to take to get to the destination, calculate the routes bills, which talk about either by distance, by mileage, and the like. So the system has actually talked about it. So we have the carrier setup. Is it by train? Is it by air? Is it by cargo? Is it by ship? So all this can be set into the system to tackle any kind of carrier that we have. So we have the tax engine, we have the generic engine, the mileage, the rates, the transit time, which is moving from one location to another. So you can calculate your payments based on this kind of engine. So they have been set up in a way where you can just do some few notification that actually meets your business process, and it does the calculation at the back end. So we have a lot here. We have the shipments. Like I said, we have the inquiries and reporting for this particular transport. So how transport status, freight invoice details, and the likes. So moving forward, talking about the vendor collaboration. So this is actually a portal for the vendor where they can monitor requests for quotation, monitor their consignment inventory, which are the inventory for the vendor that are being stored in our inventory or our warehouse, for instance. So you can check the purchase order confirmation, the invoicing, the vendor information, the vendor bidding for a particular bid or quotes and all. You can see the contacts, the vendor collaboration users, the purchase order view, the consignment inventory I mentioned earlier, and you can actually request for quotation to bid for a particular bid and all. So this particular portal is actually for the vendor. So once the vendor has access to this portal, it doesn't see anything apart from all these things. It sees vendor collaboration and these menu items. So based on the role of the vendor. So the next one, the last but not least, is the vendor warehouse management. So in this warehouse management, this is where the major operation takes place, where we talk about the outbound operation and the inbound operation, which I'll be taking in a few seconds. So we have the shipment to the shipments can be done here before they are being transferred into the transport management system. Here we set up our warehouse, sites, location, the inventory storage type, how the inventory adjustment can be made. Like we have here, we have the adjustment type, the movement type. At times, we might want to move inventory from one warehouse to another, not like we're actually buying it from a vendor, but we're actually moving from one inventory to another. Probably we are doing cycle counts. So how do we adjust this inventory at hand? So, and this warehouse management module actually comes with a mobile application, which actually works both offline and online for employees that work on site. So it's easier for them to do their cycle count, do their inbound operation and outbound operation in real time. So the mobile app can work both offline and online. So the work they see is based on the setup that has been done by the admin. So every employee with the role of the warehouse personnel can have different work assigned to them. So that's about that. So we have we also have the load type, we have the work type, we have the work policy, among others. So talking about the outbound work planning here now. So like the name implies, outbound, so goods leaving the warehouse. So before the goods can leave the warehouse, it has to be a goods in our inventory. So once the goods has been being purchased by the customer, so we create a load, a wave or a shipment for that kind of goods. So it goes to the transport management. So they deal with the containerization and how the rates are being calculated. Then once they are done, it comes down to the warehouse, where the warehouse personnel can actually do some vetting, deduct that particular inventory from the on-hand inventory, which is the inventory they have in store or in stock at the moment, and check for compliances and every other thing, and the goods can actually move out of the warehouse. The same scenario works with. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
maybe we may just need to summarize so we can have time to
Yes, I'm just
take
trying to summarize.
questions and get the feelings of the worries our audience has. So just summarize. I know this is a little bit more technical, so I think we can take the technicality to people who show more interest by having further conversations with them, but so that we don't get too technical, because not everybody here is technical. So I'll summarize, then we'll move to questions. Thank you.
All right, that's fine, sir. Thank you, sir. So the same way it works with the inbound process. So it has to do with the inflow of goods into the warehouse, how you receive it, how you store them. And there's some cases where we have to return some goods based on damages or customer satisfaction. So system has handled those aspects too. So moving to the last part of this presentation, which is the HR.
So, please, can we just take questions? If we have to come back to the presentation, the audience will determine that. Is that okay?
Okay, and it's fine by me, sir.
Okay, thank you. Please, we're open for questions. You can unmute your mic, ask your questions. There are areas we need clarity, things that we don't understand. Please, we're up for questions. Thank you. From beginning from the presentation, yeah, and the demo, are there questions in any of the modules? The finance, the personnel management of human resources, supply chain, payroll. Are there areas we need questions or we need clarity? Please, let's make this a little bit more interactive.
Okay, hi.
Please go ahead.
So in the chat area, someone wrote, Mr. James Miracle wrote that the demo was too fast for him, and he's actually switching to another meeting. So I don't know how we'll respond to that.
Or
Yeah,
two parts. Yeah, too many things, right?
yeah, I had a lot to cover in less time. I'm sorry about that. It could have caught my
Yeah,
attention.
so we could just so that's what I'm saying. We don't need to go into all the details. We just pick some areas that are of most importance, and so we might have to reach out to him and maybe take our time to look at the areas that are he has pain points and address those pain points.
That's fine, man.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. If you have questions, please, clarity, issues, pain points, or you want us to engage you further one-on-one, please indicate interest and I'll be glad to do that.
You can actually drop your questions on the chat box here if you can. If it's something you cannot actually say out here, or you are in a hurry, you can drop your questions on the chat box. We'll handle it. Someone will pick it up and will respond to that. Please.
Yeah. If there are no questions, maybe Bamidele may just have to summarize, and then we can follow up with feedbacks. Thanks, Hafiz.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and thank you for your patience so far. So basically, what we've been trying to tell you since morning is, we're trying to tell you that some of the manual processes that you currently do in your at your place of work in your different sector, it can actually be automated to make work easier for you, to save time, to save cost, and to make you more effective. That's what we're actually trying to do. For instance, your accounting solution, most organizations or most sectors still use Excel to do their finance operations. This can actually be automated. This can actually be put into a system that you can easily know your balances at any point in time. You can see your bank balances, your GL at every point in time. You can generate report, yearly report, monthly report in the space of a second, just a click away. You get your report. Some of your processes, like your work order, you can actually automate it. And some processes that needs to go through approval, that you have to be carrying files from one desk to the other. This can actually be automated. For instance, I want to raise a cash advance. Cash advance, instead of me signing a paper, I can, from the system, I initiate it. It goes to my manager, and from my manager to the CFO for to the director of finance for approval. I only get a notification once everything has been approved, and this can be done within a minute, 2 minutes, instead of I can't even have a traceable, a visibility about where this document is. Sometimes you misplace invoices, you misplace receipt, you misplace your application. This can actually be tracked and be automated. In terms of HR also, leave requests for employees, for personnel, this can actually be automated. I know the time my leave date start and the day my leave is going to end. I get a notification. Everybody in the organization get a notification that, this Bamidele won't be at work for so period of time, and is going to resume so period of time. So these are the things we are trying to tell you. If you need more clarity, or you want more information, you can schedule a one-on-one demo with your organization, with your sector, and then we can explain this thing to you and then show you, because I can see the time is very short to explain all these things to you. And someone asked about, is Dynamics 365 an ERP solution? Yes, but Dynamics 365 is a combination of a CRM and ERP. But we've been talking about the ERP part of Dynamics 365 since the beginning of this workshop. And it also cut across the functionality actually cut across all sectors, all organizations, any businesses. You can use it. You will always find a module that suits your sector. Thank you, everyone. Any question, please? In case there is no question, over to you, Nancy. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bamidele, for wrapping up nicely, and thank you, Hafiz, for the demonstration. Thank you also, Redwan, for the presentation, and thanks to everyone that joined this meeting today, this workshop today. Kindly check in the chat area. I'll be leaving in a link where you can send us your feedback. Let us know what you think about today's session, and let us know if you would need us to come in and have a one-on-one conversation with you. We'll be more than grateful to actually answer all of your questions and sort out all of your concerns. So thank you all for your time on the call, and we appreciate your patience with us. If there's nothing more to add from the Signal Alliance team, Mr. Onyema, Mr. Kenneth, is there anything more to add? If there isn't, then I'd like to wrap up the session.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everyone. I think we'll come to the end of this session. We expect to get feedbacks and attend to them. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kenneth. Thank you all so much for your time on the call. Redwan, do you want to add anything?
No, nothing. Thank everyone for participating, and hopefully if more presentations can be made in future, we'll always be glad and be available to present. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate your time. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.